2.2 Auto Filter. The auto filter effect. The auto filter effect provides classic analog filter emulation. It can be modulated by an envelope follower and/or an LFO to create moving filter effects. The envelope follower can track either a filtered signal or an external sidechain source. Auto filter offers a variety of filter types including low pass, high pass, band pass, notch, and a special morph filter. Each filter can be switched between 12 and 24 decibel slopes, as well as a selection of analog modeled circuit behaviors developed in conjunction with Cytomic that emulate hardware filters found on some classic analog synthesizers. The clean circuit option is a high-quality, CPU-efficient design that is the same as the filters used in EQ8, page 364. This is available for all of the filter types. The OSR circuit option is a state variable type with resonance limited by a unique hard-clipping diode. This is modeled on the filters used in a somewhat rare British monosynth, and is available for all filter types. The MS2 circuit option uses a Salon key design and soft clipping to limit resonance. It is modeled on the filters used in a famous semi-modular Japanese monosynth and is available for the low-pass and high-pass filters. The SMP circuit is a custom design not based on any particular hardware. It shares characteristics of both the MS2 and PRD circuits and is available for the low-pass and high-pass filters. The PRD circuit uses a ladder design and has no explicit resonance limiting. It is modeled on the filters used in a legacy dual oscillator monosynth from the United States and is available for the low-pass and high-pass filters. The most important filter parameters are the typical synth controls: frequency and resonance. Frequency determines where in the harmonic spectrum the filter is applied. Resonance boosts frequencies near that point. When using the low-pass, high-pass, or bandpass filter with any circuit type besides clean, there is an additional drive control that can be used to add gain or distortion to the signal before it enters the filter. The morph filter has an additional morph control which sweeps the filter type continuously from low-pass to bandpass to high-pass to notch and back to low-pass. Tip: you can quickly snap the morph control to a low-pass, bandpass, high-pass, or notch setting via dedicated options in the right-click PC/Control-click Mac context menu of the morph knob. You can adjust frequency and resonance by clicking and dragging in the XY controller or via the knobs. You can also click on the frec and res numeric displays and type in exact values. When using the non-clean circuit types, the resonance control allows for self-oscillation. At resonance values above 100%, the filter will continue to ring indefinitely even after the input signal has been stopped. The pitch of the self-oscillation depends on both the frequency and resonance values. The envelope section controls how the envelope modulation affects the filter frequency. The amount control defines the extent to which the envelope affects the filter frequency, while the attack control sets how the envelope responds to rising input signals. Low attack values cause a fast response to input levels. High values integrate any changes gradually, creating a looser, slow response. Think of it as adding inertia to the response. Low release values cause the envelope to respond more quickly to falling input signals. Higher values extend the envelope's decay. Normally, the signal being filtered and the input source that triggers the envelope follower are the same signal. But by using sidechaining, it is possible to filter a signal based on the envelope of another signal. To access the sidechain parameters, unfold the auto filter window by toggling the button in its title bar. Enabling this section with the sidechain button allows you to select another track from the cursors below. This causes the selected track's signal to trigger the filter's envelope follower, instead of the signal that is actually being filtered. The gain knob adjusts the level of the external sidechain's input, while the dry/wet knob allows you to use a combination of sidechain and original signal as the envelope follower's trigger. With dry/wet at 100%, the envelope follower tracks the sidechain source exclusively. At 0%, the sidechain is effectively bypassed. Note that increasing the gain does not increase the volume of the source signal in the mix. The sidechain audio is only a trigger for the envelope follower and is never actually heard. The auto filter also contains a low-frequency oscillator to modulate filter frequency in a periodic fashion. The respective amount control sets how much the LFO affects the filter. This can be used in conjunction with or instead of the envelope follower. The rate control specifies the LFO speed. It can be set in terms of hertz or synced to the song tempo, allowing for controlled rhythmic filtering. Available LFO waveform shapes assign create smooth modulations with rounded peaks and valleys, square, triangle, sawtooth up, sawtooth down, and sample and hold generates random positive and negative modulation values in mono and stereo. There are 2 LFOs, one for each stereo channel. The phase and offset controls define the relationship between these 2 LFOs. Phase keeps both LFOs at the same frequency, but can set the 2 LFO waveforms out of phase with each other, creating stereo movement. set to 180, the LFO outputs are 180 degrees apart, so that when one LFO reaches its peak, the other is at its minimum. Spinner tunes the two LFO speeds relative to each other. Each stereo channel is modulated at a different frequency, as determined by the spinner mount. For sample and hold S and H, the phase and spin controls are not relevant and do not affect the sound. Instead, the auto filter offers two kinds of sample and hold. The upper sample and hold type available in the chooser provides independent random modulation generators for the left and right channels, stereo, while the lower one modulates both channels with the same signal, mono. The quantized beat control applies quantized modulation to the filter frequency. With quantized beat off, frequency modulation follows the control source, the envelope, LFO, or manual adjusted cutoff. Turning this feature on updates the filter modulation rhythmically with stepped changes that track the master tempo. The numbered buttons represent 16th notes, so, for example, selecting 4 as a beat value produces a modulation change once per beat. Legacy filters. If you open a set that was created in a version of Lib older than version 9.5, any instance of auto filter in the set will open with legacy filters in place of the filters discussed previously. These consist of 12 decibels or 24 decibels low pass, band pass and high pass filters, as well as a notch filter, and do not feature a drive control. Each auto filter loaded with the legacy filters shows an upgrade button in the title bar. Pressing this button will permanently switch the filter selection to the newer models for that instance of auto filter. Note that this change may make your set sound different.